Satnam Aloha. So the full moon is coming up on February 16th, and this is good news for us. And boy, can we use some good news in 2022. So this means it's a time of opportunity. And because the full moon is squaring the moon's nodes, right, at the time of the full moon, this means it's predestined, right? We're talking destiny. But the only caveat is that you have to take action. You must take action. So in terms of the collective of humanity, we're evolving through the emotional body for the Aquarian age, and there's no escaping our emotional body in this lifetime. So this full moon, right, these inspired actions, they'll involve facing some deeply buried emotions, such as fear. So if you look at the chakra system as a humanity, generally speaking, we've been stuck in the third chakra consciousness. This is the worship of personal willpower, the worship of the ego. You know, we celebrate people who use their willpower to climb to the top of the heap. We make movies about these people, right? The underdogs, the rags to riches stories. It's a very masculine energy. And as we come closer and closer into the age of Aquarius, this egoic energy will no longer work. And you may be already experiencing that yourself in your life. You know, I'm trying to change my situation with my sheer willpower, and nothing is moving. It's actually reversing on me. You know, there's a person I know here, a neighbor, and she's totally run by her willpower, running from one thing to the next, running away from something, right? And everything's going wrong for her, right? She recently just twisted her ankle, and it's life is saying, stop, right? This way of being will no longer work for you. So you may also experience that yourself, right? And if you see here, this triangle shape, that's our ego. That's the center of our willpower. And 70% have an open ego center, which means 70% of the world's population are running around trying to prove themselves, right? They've got no willpower, not like someone who has a colored in or defined willpower center. That's only 30% of the world. You see how this not self, this phantom self, is just completely taken over the world. So humanity is evolving from a third chakra consciousness into a fourth chakra consciousness, and this is the heart. So as a humanity, we're finding our hearts again. Why do you think it touches us when we see people operating from their hearts, right? When we see the perfume of the heart in acts of kindness and gratitude and generosity and compassion and gentleness. It's a reminder. That's why we're touched. It's a reminder of who we really are as a humanity. And the whole spirit of humanity is shifting before our very eyes. If you just care to start to look around, not mainstream news, but everywhere else, you'll see this shift. And the heart is a paradox. Yes, it's kind, right? But it's also ferocious. The heart is ferocious. The heart actually protects the body through the thymus gland, where the T cells of the immune system mature. And if these T cells were human beings, you wouldn't want to mess with them, right? They're like the hardcore Green Beret, right? The elite of the elite soldiers. So ferocious to protect you from invaders, right? One-pointed mission. So it's interesting that one of the effects of this JAB is issues with the heart, right? The lies are getting more outlandish. They're trying to blame heart problems on breathing too deeply at work. Right? We're going to blame everything and anything except the JAB. So we've been told lies all our life about living from our hearts. We've been told that it's a weakness. And this is different than emotionality. Living from the heart is not emotionality. This is where the person becomes incapacitated, right? They become a blubbering mess right on the floor, in the fetal position, unable to get through it. And this is called getting trapped in emotionality. There, in that state of consciousness, you stay on the surface of your emotions and you refuse to go deeper and go through the emotions to the other side. That's the transformational process when you alchemize your emotions, your buried emotions. So emotionality is victim consciousness. It's refusing to do the work, right? It's wanting to stay in victim, wanting somebody else to do it for you. It's a big excuse not to grow and evolve. So you might have been there yourself, right? We've all been there, but you might have some people in your life that are like that. They're singing the same old victim tune for years and years and never getting out of it, right? The dynamic, maybe there's different names, different faces, but different bodies, but the dynamic is on repeat, right? So know this, that the heart is strong. And we can see this with people right now. Parents are fighting, right, for the children of the world. People are fighting for the children of the world. Standing up and saying enough is enough. And spiritually, right, to look at it symbolically, what we're really fighting for is our own inner child, the divine child. This is our innocence as a humanity. We're just playing it all out on the external. So this full moon is about reclaiming our hearts. And if there's one chakra out of all the chakras that describes the human, it's the heart. So the shadow of this full moon is called half-heartedness. This is the 29th hexagram. Leo, sign of Leo. So living life from half-heartedness is not really living life at all. And the universe doesn't like a vacuum. If your heart is not fully open, then there's a space. And what's going to fill that space is the mind and the ego. So half-heartedness is, well, if things get challenging in my relationship, I'll run, right? There's an exit door over there. I'm going to get out of this relationship. Stu, I want to face the challenges. Well, if things don't work out with my dream, then I got a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Or I won't even take an emotional risk because it's too uncomfortable. And the mind is like, it probably won't work out anyway. Why bother? So this full moon is going to make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you're feeling this tension inside you. Well, the tension is created through the energies of the full moon. It's creating a square, right? It's coming up to the full moon now, creating a square with the nodes of the moon. So your mind may be, well, I know what I have to do, but I don't want to do it because this will happen. And there's this flip-flop back and forth. This is the battle inside you between the old you and the new you, right? So what's the underlying fear here? Every shadow has a fear. Well, it's the fear of getting your heart broken again. We all had our hearts broken as children. Every single one of us. It's just the mechanism of the Maya. And for us to do our destiny, what we came here to do on this planet, we must do it with a full heart. There's no other way. We can't do our destiny with a half-hearted consciousness, right? Shadow. So as soon as you bump up against the limitations of your heart, where those scars are, the mind goes on high alert. The mind is like, oh, the heart's about to awaken. Quick, run that movie in the head about all the things that could go wrong. Cue the guilt and the shame, the failure, the rejection, the abandonment, right? Dig it all up from the unconscious. All the fantasies of the mind to stop that heart from opening fully. So this is letting life live us rather than live life, right? I'll just hold back these pieces of my authentic self, these pieces that are connected to my trauma, my heartbreak from childhood, right? I'll just keep those hidden, right? And the moon is saying, no way, Jose. It's saying commit. And what are you committing to? You're committing to your heart. And the gift is commitment. The gift is commitment. So your heart knows the way through the Aquarian age, right? Your head is like it's on the short bus wearing a toque, right? It's not equipped. The heart is the expert, right? It's the wise sage. It's the guide. So commit to the feelings in your heart, right? What's your heart communicating to you this week? And it's going to involve an emotional risk. It's going to bring up fear. Maybe it's taking that first baby step towards your soul purpose that you've been putting off for years. Maybe it's taking that course or training you've always wanted to do. Maybe it's calling that person you can't stop thinking about, right? Your heart is communicating this through your feelings, not your emotions, but your feelings. And the full moon, right, of commitment is squaring the nodes. And the north node is where you want to go, right? That's the gift of authenticity, that 8th hexagram. And letting go of the shadow of compromise, the 14th hexagram. And compromise is Scorpio. So you know the shadow of Scorpio, they're sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. And this is what takes you away from your commitment to your heart. You know, like that little voice of the shadow as well. You know, you've got to make money, you got to pay the bills, or you're inadequate, you're not good enough. There's other people that can do it better than you. Or you can't do it now, right? You got this going on, right? We're letting go of that shadow to embrace our authenticity, which is only achieved through an open heart. Now, I did a video on this nodal axis, so you want to check that out, the 8 and the 14. So then we also have Mars and Venus in a conjunction. That means they're kissing, right? They're kissing, Mars and Venus, until March 20th, which is very rare. So this means the masculine, Mars, has caught up with the feminine, Venus. Usually the feminine gets away from the masculine, runs away. You know, it's like Pepe Le Pew in the cat. But this time, the masculine's caught up with the feminine, and they're going side by side, traveling until March 20th. So that's very auspicious. And they're both in the 54th hexagram until February 22nd. And what does this mean? This is spiritual love. Spiritual love. It's aspiring to something greater. To me, this is a signal of the emergence of the new Aquarian relationships. So really stay awake and alert this week and listen to your heart and where it's leading you. And most importantly, take action. And then you're going to activate, right, your destiny, right? Just move through the tension, move through the fear. And on the other side is your destiny. So the North Node is showing us that we need to embrace our authenticity this year. It's a must, and stop compromising. But first you have to know who you are. So this is what my recorded readings show you, where you can cultivate your uniqueness, like what food you need to eat for you. It's all based on your chart. What environment you need to be in for you, how your brain works, what you're supposed to see out in the world, how to make your decisions. So it's still $25 off. I fixed the coupon code, so it's working. And you can order yours today. It's 1.5 hours long. And also my mother wound and father wound webinars. You can get both of them for $99. This is over 16 hours of content plus meditations. And if you need to know you need to do some healing and forgiveness work with your earthly mother and father, then check that out. If you have relationship issues, you got to work with your mother. If you got prosperity issues, you got to work with your father. Those are symptoms, right, that you need to go there to do some healing. So please leave your comments below and talk about the any tensions you're experiencing and what's going on in your life during this time. And are you ready to break through, right, for this full moon? Okay. And I want to thank everyone who's donated or purchased one of my products. I really appreciate it. And be sure to sign up for my free newsletter so that we stay connected. And thank you for liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell and sharing. So you can follow me on Telegram, Instagram, Odysee, and Facebook. And I'll see you next video, or maybe sooner. Okay? So have a great day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Okay. Sat Nam Aloha.